I'm going to tell you something, and your first reaction will probably be, "This doesn't apply to me." But that reaction itself is proof of exactly what I'm about to say. The biggest lie people tell themselves isn't a big dramatic lie. It's not spoken out loud. It's not consciously constructed. Most of the time, it goes completely unnoticed. But it repeats every single day. It's embedded in every decision, underneath every delay, every giving up, every one day. And that lie is this: I'll start when I'm ready. It sounds reasonable, even responsible. But this sentence is stealing decades from you, silently, with your permission. I'll start when I'm ready. To understand why this sentence is so powerful, you need to understand how the brain works. The brain avoids two things: pain and uncertainty. Starting something new contains both. There's the pain of potential failure, the pain of being judged, the pain of wasted time and energy, and above all of that, the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen. The sentence, "I'll start when I'm ready," disables both at once. No pain, no uncertainty, just a beautiful promise about the future, and a moment of complete relief. For today, the brain loves this. When it hears this sentence, the reward center activates. It feels like you've actually done something, but you haven't. And that is why this is the most powerful lie. It makes you feel good while keeping you completely still. So what does being ready actually mean? Really think about this. What does it mean to be ready to start a business? Let me have enough money, enough knowledge, enough time. What does it mean to be ready for a relationship? Let me fully understand myself. Let me have resolved all my trauma. Let me have everything figured out. What does it mean to be ready to start living healthy? Let my motivation reach its peak. Let me build the perfect program. Let me start flawlessly. All of these conditions sound logical, but the moment that fully satisfies all of them never comes. Money is never enough. No one has ever known everything. When motivation peaks, another obstacle appears. And while you wait, months pass, years pass. One day you look back. The thing you said, "I'll start when I'm ready," about 10 years ago, still hasn't been started. And now you're asking yourself, is it too late? No, it's not too late. But if you keep waiting, one day that question will have a different answer. The lie, "I'll start when I'm ready," has a sibling. "I'll do it when I can do it right." Perfectionism. And perfectionism is praised by motivation videos everywhere. High standards. Commitment to quality. Wanting the best. But in reality, perfectionism is usually this: a shield used to protect yourself from failure. Think about it. If you never start, you can never fail. If you say, "I'm not ready yet," no one can judge you with disappointment. Working endlessly on the perfect plan protects you from criticism, judgment, and failure. Safe, but completely still. And here's what I've realized: the most perfect plans are the ones that are never executed. Because once execution begins, the plan has to change. Reality breaks your plan. Successful people don't make perfect plans. They start with a good enough plan. They adjust as they go, and eventually, they arrive. The average person waits for the perfect plan, and that plan is never ready. Now I'm going to show you something no one has clearly shown you before. The cost of this lie. It's an invisible bill. It's not charged monthly, but it accumulates over years. And when the invoice finally arrives, the number is staggering. Think about it. At 25, you wanted to start something. You said, "I'll start when I'm ready." You turned 35. Still hadn't started. What did you lose over those 10 years? Lost skill, the experience you could have gained in those 10 years, the mistakes you could have made and learned from, the doors that could have opened. Lost confidence. Every "I didn't start" moment is a promise made to yourself, and every broken promise erodes self-confidence a little more. The irreversibility of time. This is the most valuable resource. Money can be earned. Energy can be renewed. Time does not come back. And this bill grows a little more with every moment you say, "I'll start when I'm ready." Invisible, silent, but real. Now let me show you the deepest layer of this lie. After saying, "I'll start when I'm ready," for long enough, the sentence stops being a habit. It becomes an identity. You're no longer just saying, "I didn't start this time." You start saying, "I'm someone who doesn't start." And identity is far more powerful than habit. You can change a habit, but changing your identity, that's something else entirely. Because identity protects itself in every decision you make. When someone says, "I started a business," you say, "Yeah, but I'm not that kind of person." When someone says, "I wrote a book," you say, "I'm not a writer." These sentences seem harmless, but every one of them anchors you a little deeper. As the years pass, this identity grows stronger, and as it strengthens, changing it feels harder and harder. But know this, identity does change, but only under one condition. Behavior must change first. If you start writing while still thinking, "I'm not a writer," over time, that sentence changes. It becomes, "I am someone who writes." Identity doesn't change behavior. Behavior changes identity. Now let me explain the brain science, and this knowledge will answer the question, why can't I ever just start once and for all? There's a region in your brain, the prefrontal cortex. This region manages planning, decision-making, and imagining the future. And when this region senses a threat, it freezes. Is starting something new a threat? To the brain? Yes. Because the new thing is unknown. The unknown could be dangerous. Stay away from dangerous things. This mechanism was life-saving for cave dwellers. When a cave person saw an unfamiliar track, they paused. What is this? Is it dangerous? That pause protected them. But you are not a cave person. And starting a business does not throw you in front of a lion. Yet the brain fires the same response. You're waiting for the ready feeling, but that feeling is actually this: a safety signal that the threat has passed, and that signal never comes, because the new thing is always unknown, and the unknown is always a small threat. The solution is not to wait until you feel ready. The solution is to learn to move despite the threat signal. Now let me tell you about an invisible force that feeds this lie: your environment. The lie, "I'll start when I'm ready," doesn't grow alone. It's a lie the people around you are telling too. Look around you. How many people have been postponing the same dream for years? How many people are living with, "I'll do it one day"? How many people are waiting for conditions to improve? And you spend time with these people every single day. Their language infects you. Their expectations become your expectations. Their normal becomes your normal. This is not a coincidence. According to sociologists, behaviors spread through social networks, just like a virus. Procrastination is contagious. Not starting is contagious. Not yet is contagious. But know this too: the opposite is also true. Taking action is contagious. Starting is contagious. Now is contagious. If you have people in your life who regularly start things, progress, and take risks, you naturally find starting easier too. Your environment may not be supporting you, but that is not your destiny. It can be changed. The sentence, "I'll start when I'm ready," is actually a cover for a different sentence. And that sentence is, what if I start and fail? That is the real fear, not just the fear of failure, the fear of what you'll think about yourself after you fail. So I wasn't good enough after all. So they were right about me all along. So this just isn't for me. These conclusions hurt far more than failure itself. And so the brain does this. It eliminates the risk of reaching those conclusions entirely by not starting. If you don't start, you can't fail. If you don't fail, you never have to have those painful conversations with yourself. Sounds logical, doesn't it? But realize this. By not starting, you're already arriving at an outcome. Not failure, inaction. And inaction carries a much higher cost than failure. Because you can learn from failure. You cannot learn from inaction. Failure is a lesson. Inaction is a loss. Now let me tell you the only real way to break this fear. Change your definition of failure. Most people see failure like this: a personal verdict. Not, I failed at this, but I am a failure. A permanent state. Not, it didn't work this time, but I'm just not cut out for this. A public humiliation. Everyone saw. Everyone knows. This definition paralyzes people, but successful people see failure differently. For them, failure is a data point. This path didn't work. What's next? A temporary state. I haven't succeeded yet. Private knowledge. I learned something my competitors didn't. Edison failed thousands of times developing the light bulb, and he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's not a joke. That is a real mental framework. What you think about failure determines what you do after failure, and what you do after failure determines where you ultimately end up. If what I've said so far is hitting home, hit the like button. Because now we're getting to the real question. How do you break free from this lie? And how do you start without actually feeling ready? Now let me tell you the first step to breaking this lie. Change your definition of the word starting. Most people see starting like this: taking a big step, fully equipped, fully ready, fully committed. That definition is wrong, and that wrong definition makes starting feel impossible. Real starting is this: taking the smallest step you can take today. You want to write a book. Starting is not writing the first chapter. Starting is writing one page today. You want to build a business. Starting is not registering a company. Starting is talking to one potential customer today. You want to live healthy. Starting is not a perfect diet plan. Starting is going for a walk today. The small step looks small, but the small step is more important than the big step. Because the small step can actually be taken. And a step that's been taken makes the next step possible. Once the first step is taken, the lie, I'm not ready, loses its power. Because you've already started, and the world didn't collapse. There's a law in physics, Newton's first law. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. This isn't just physics. It applies to human psychology, too. A person at rest tends to stay at rest. A person in motion tends to stay in motion. This is called momentum. And momentum works like this. The first step is the hardest. It requires the most energy to begin, like pushing a car from a standstill. But once movement begins, continuing takes far less energy. What does this mean in practice? Instead of, I'll work for an hour, say, I'll work for 5 minutes. Just start. Just 5 minutes. Chances are you won't stop after 5 minutes, because momentum has begun. And this 5-minute start is the only real tool that breaks the lie. I'll start when I'm ready. Thinking feeds the lie. Movement kills the lie. Now let me give you a powerful thinking tool. Imagine 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, Today, you start. Not perfectly, you don't feel ready, but you start. Where are you 2 years from now? You've gained experience. You made mistakes and learned from them. Maybe you failed, but you know what needs to be done better now, and you've been progressing for 2 years straight. Scenario 2. Today, you don't start. You say, when I'm ready. You wait for conditions to change. Where are you 2 years from now? Same place, maybe a little more tired, maybe a little more skeptical. And that one day still hasn't come. Which scenario do you want to be in 2 years from now? Really think about this. Don't run from it, because the version of you 2 years from now is looking at what you choose today. And if today you say, not yet, 2 years from now, you'll be facing the exact same question. I'll start when I'm ready isn't the only lie, it has a family. I'll do it when I have the time. Time is created, not found. Everyone has 24 hours a day. Successful people don't have more time. They just spend less of it on the wrong things. When the conditions are right. Conditions are never perfect. The economy is always uncertain. Life is always unpredictable. Those who wait for perfect conditions wait forever. When I know a little more. Knowledge is infinite. Everything you learn reveals more things you don't know. The feeling of, I know enough, never fully arrives. When someone guides me. Waiting for guidance means waiting for someone else to give you permission. But no one is going to give you that permission, because that permission only lives in you. All of these lies do the same thing. They produce a legitimate excuse not to start. And because it sounds legitimate, you believe it. Now let me talk about something no one openly discusses. Self-sabotage, pulling yourself back. Just as you're approaching success. Creating a problem just as things start going right. Finding an excuse just as momentum is building. Giving up just as you're about to take an important step. This is not intentional. It's unconscious. And here's what's behind it. To the brain, success is also a threat. If you succeed, expectations rise. If expectations rise, failure becomes more visible. Visible failure triggers personal judgment, and the brain blocks this. It says, protect yourself before you reach success. Know yourself. What happens every time you want to start? Do other things suddenly become important? Do you suddenly feel exhausted? Do you suddenly say, actually, this idea isn't that great? This is the signature of self-sabotage, and recognizing it is the first step to dealing with it. Now let me tell you the deepest skill required to break these lies. Making peace with uncertainty. Because at the core of the lie, I'll start when I'm ready, is an intolerance for uncertainty. I can't start without knowing what will happen. I can't take a step without seeing how it will turn out. I can't take a risk without knowing if I'll lose. But nothing in life is guaranteed. Even the best preparation doesn't guarantee the outcome. Even the strongest plan has to change when it meets reality. Even the most talented person fails. Uncertainty is the rule of life, and those who accept this rule start despite the uncertainty. They walk alongside the uncertainty. They see uncertainty not as an enemy, but as a travel companion. In practical terms, it means this. I don't know how it will turn out, but I know the step I'm taking today, and I'm going to take it. This sentence stands in direct opposition to, I'll start when I'm ready. And those who truly embrace it are in a completely different place 10 years from now. There are people throughout history who escaped this lie, and they all share one thing. They started before they felt ready. K. Rowling was unemployed when she was writing Harry Potter. She was a single mother, broke, depressed. That was not a ready moment for writing. But she wrote, Steve Jobs was 20 years old when he started Apple. No business experience, no capital. He started from a garage. He wasn't ready, but he started. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. They told her, "You're not fit for television." That was not the right moment to begin, but she kept going. What these people have in common is not talent. It's not even quite courage. It's this. They learned to keep moving forward without feeling ready. And you can learn that too, because being ready is not a state. It's a decision. The moment you decide, I have decided to be ready, you are ready. The theory is done. Now the practical. Do 3 things to break this lie. First, notice the sentence, when I'm ready. Count how many times today you think this sentence or a version of it. Most people aren't even aware. Without awareness, there is no change. Second, ask, what is the smallest step? What is the smallest version of the thing you want to do? Not an hour. 5 minutes. Not perfect. Good enough. Not complete. A beginning. Take that smallest step today. Just today. Don't think about tomorrow. Third, use the sentence, I'm not ready, but I'm starting. This sentence is powerful. It's both honest and activating. I'm not ready. You're acknowledging your brain's anxiety. But I'm starting. You're moving forward anyway. Saying both of these together means being honest with yourself while still pushing forward. And that balance is the balance most people never find. Now I want to tell you something. This lie ends one day for everyone, but it ends in 2 different ways. The first, you choose to end it. That's enough. Even if I don't feel ready, I'm starting. And your life begins to change. The second, time ends it. One day you realize that thing can no longer be done. Maybe it's too late. Maybe the opportunity closed. Maybe the energy is gone. And when the lie ends that way, you lose something along with it. The difference between the 2 endings is this. In one, you choose. In the other, time chooses. Right now, you have the choice. And maybe this video came to you at exactly the right moment, because that thing you said, I'll start when I'm ready, about, is still there, waiting for you. The question is, how much longer are you going to make it wait? You kept watching this video. That alone is a choice, and it's a good one. But now, there's a more important choice in front of you. There's something in your head, something you've been telling yourself. I'll do it when I'm ready. You already know what it is. Today, take one single step toward it. Let it be small. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just let it be real. Because that step might be the beginning of something you've been waiting 10 years for. If this video made you think, subscribe. Because in the next video, we're going to talk about this. Why do some people work incredibly hard and still never move forward? And the science of putting your energy in the right place. See you.